This is a very short class in which we want to contrast small business with entrepreneurial businesses. In other words, businesses committed to growing or who have perhaps achieved a certain size. So it's a very short class, as you can see from the bottom right hand corner, just 11 slides, but dealing with an interesting contrast between two different types of organization. So we'll look at larger and entrepreneurial ventures versus small business management. So we're looking at small businesses versus the larger and the entrepreneurial ventures, the ones that are committed to growing and whose focus is really on developing the business and becoming larger. So let's start with just a very simple table outlining the attributes of small business, and then we'll look at the larger business. So for small business, generally speaking, they are independently owned and operated. Small businesses may be owned by one person or by a family or by a small group of individuals. So generally speaking, they're independent. They're not associated with larger organizations. They may not be incorporated as a limited company. They may be working as just simply a small business. It depends really on what we mean by small here, and there are definitions that we'll come across in subsequent videos which will indicate roughly the size of organizations that are classified as small. Some that are classified as medium and some are large. So we'll look at the criteria and the ways of judging whether an organization is small, medium or large in other videos. But for the moment, just consider it very simply as independently owned and operated. So it's an organization that's small in size, small in terms of the number of employees or the amount of capital in the business. You see, there are different ways of measuring smallness. Sometimes an organization may have a lot of capital and very few workers because the capital is all automated, in which case the value of the business could be substantial but the number of employees very small. So looking at it, looking at the definition of small in that case based on the number of employees, that organization would appear to be small, when in fact it may be a very large organization with a lot of capital. So we need to be careful about how we measure small. But nonetheless, having said all of that, we will just simply and very basically, I suppose, consider small business to be small in size. However we measure the size, we'll deal with that later. But small businesses do not dominate the markets, that's for sure. They tend to be small and they tend to take what's going and make a living and survive. They don't dominate the market, they don't market lead or set the price, or they're not necessarily great companies for innovation, at least many of them. Some of the smaller ones may have a good reputation, but many don't. They just simply work week to week, month to month, and try to survive. Now, entrepreneurship, or this idea of larger businesses and entrepreneurial ventures, well, growth is a major driver for these. Growth is what they are in the business for. They want to grow, they want to succeed. So they might start from very small, but they want to have rapid growth if possible. And they tend to be typified by lots of inventions and innovations and creative thinking and being different. Very entrepreneurial, very advanced in their thinking, willing to take risks and develop new products and innovate processes and production, innovate the product itself. So they're quite inventive and quite innovative, and that makes them different to the small business, who may be more worried about surviving, just making enough to survive and not necessarily concerned with getting the latest equipment or innovating or taking risks. So there is a big contrast between the two different types. Having said all of that, as I said earlier, we have got problems of definition, what exactly we mean by small business, what we mean by medium size, and what we mean by large. But as I said, this is the subject matter of subsequent videos. So, as I said, very short class, just wanted to outline what we mean by small and what are the essential characteristics of small, and looking at the more entrepreneurial growth driven firms on the other side. And that's all I'm going to deal with in this session. So let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.